¿Cómo está mi gente? Vamos a empezar la entrevista aquí con Eli Castro. Un breakcito aquí. Déjame ver cómo esto funciona. Ahí está. Ok. Eli Castro. What's going on, man? Invítala a Eli Castro ahora. A ver cómo se hace esto. Alrighty, alrighty. Let's go. Dímelo, dímelo, dímelo. What's going on, man?
So that picture of me looked better than what I look now, bro.
Ah, es que le hice unos edits. Le hice, I gotta put it
yeah,
crisp. I gotta make you
you
look good,
look,
man.
yeah, you made me look really good. Eso como que me dio ganas de just let
De
my
hacer
hair
algo,
grow out.
¿verdad? Con el pelo.
Yeah, bro. This is that COVID look.
Papi, no, eso es. No, come on, you still got 60 years left, man. You looking good.
Mira, trying to make
Mira,
me
sí.
feel better. Está
How
bien.
you doing, man?
Todo bien, gracias a Dios. What's up with you?
Oh, good, man, good. Aquí, clase de calor en PA. I'm in PA. So,
Where
Pennsylvania.
where where in Pennsylvania?
Lebanon.
You're in
Como,
Lebanon. Where in Lebanon?
Chestnut Street. That's where I stay at. Chestnut and.
Yeah, but you're not on Chestnut right now. It doesn't look like Chestnut Street.
No, no, no. Bueno, esto es cerquita del mall. It's like in a little
Del
park
mall.
here. Uh-huh.
Del
The Lebanon Valley Mall on Cumberland Street.
Oh, you're on Cumberland Street right now?
Yeah, well, it's close to Cumberland Street. This is where like the park is at, close to the mall. So like it's
No,
like
no, I
right.
want to know. No, I want to know exactly. No, you're not on Cumberland Street. I want to know exactly where you're at, bro.
Esto es, yo no sé cómo se llama el parque es ¿qué es? Lions Lake, yo creo que es.
So
Lions
why are
Lake.
you? So why
Okay.
are you in the park?
It's quiet, man. It's very quiet. It's better than being in the house. Tengo los chamacos en casa.
Yeah,
Tengo los
but you
chamacos en
got, but you,
casa, yeah.
but you in the car though. It's quiet in the car. Why'd you park the car in a park? You look all suspicious, bro. That's
Oh
suspect.
no, 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 no. It feels good here because of the lighting and stuff. You know what I mean? I got some good lighting. La oficina, yo no sé qué pasó con la oficina. So dije, déjame buscar un lado que tenga good lighting, that is quiet,
Yeah.
porque si no, pues tú sabes.
But now you got the people that live around the park looking at some dude, parqueado en el
Right, they're like,
carro, talking
¿qué
to
este,
himself,
qué este tipo
right?
hace? ¿Qué
And
este
they're like,
tipo hace?
mira, hello, ¿me entiendes?
Ajá. ¿Qué este tipo hace hablando con?
You're that guy, bro. You're that guy. No, no, okay, I like the lighting in the park and it's quiet, you
Yeah,
know.
it's good, yeah. Y todo el mundo mirando como que,
Yeah. License and registration, please.
¿qué está pasando? Yeah, what's going on here?
Yeah.
No, they're not that, thank God they're not that bad here. The police,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's what, you know what? Save it for the judge, okay?
For the
Because,
judge, right?
all it takes is that one cop to be like,
Yeah.
no, I'm sorry, but he looks suspicious, you know?
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
feel you. I feel you. Mira, tú lo ves atrás, ¿verdad? Con el,
Like,
con el perrito, con el perrito.
yeah, hey, that's the neighborhood watch program, bro. Okay?
Ajá, así.
Why is he parked in the park though? Why has he got to park
What?
here? Why
Why
can't
is
he
he?
park by his house?
Why can't he, right? No,
Yeah.
the house. I don't know. You don't want me parked by the house, man.
No,
Oh
no, you
my
don't. You
lord.
don't want to do your business, right? You don't want to do the
Oh,
selling by your
oh.
house. You got to go to the park to do the selling,
You
right?
got to. You got to, brother. You
Yeah.
got
You
to.
don't want your customers to know where you live. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
hey, you smart. Oh, come on. You know this already. You know
Papa,
this
I
already.
I used to defend many people that used
Right.
to park in parks. Okay,
Yeah.
those were my clients. You understand?
Wow. You had a whole bunch of them, huh?
Como familia, como familia.
Yo, so what's up, man? How's everything with la comedia? ¿Cómo está todo with the shows
Todo
and
bien,
stuff?
like with everybody else, it's been challenging. It's been tough for the past year and a half, parece.
Right.
But we're all in this together, bro. So
Yeah.
it's like you can't spend too much time complaining because we're all in the same boat, brother. So
Yeah.
all you can hope is that we go into it together, we come out of it together, which means people get vaccinated and so we can go back to a regular life. You know what I'm saying? So
Así es, así es.
yeah. There's no discussion. There's no nothing. You know what I mean? It's like if we want to talk about something, let's talk about mañana. Let's talk about next month. But we can't talk about mañana and next month until we all do what we got to do to get to
Exacto.
mañana and next month. You know what I'm saying? So
Exacto.
for me, you know, this pandemic has brought out more of the lawyer in me. You know what I'm saying? Where I'm just like,
Wow.
you know, like I can't tolerate foolishness and
Yeah.
selfishness. ¿Me entiendes?
Yeah.
Dale, do what you got to do so we can all get back to where we were a couple years ago. You know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's been crazy because even though it's se dice que it's supposedly dying down and see in quotation mark, you know, with the whole vaccination, pero todavía hay gente que, oh, I'm not going to get vaccinated. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to, ¿sabes?
Yeah, but I'm married to a doctor that just this morning showed me, you know, the numbers.
Wow.
And the numbers are showing a peak. So, you know, I don't want to see those numbers, right? Because I'm doing the right thing. Pero it's upsetting when I hear people not doing the right thing, right? And they got all these justifications and excuses, and people are dying. This ain't fun. This ain't funny. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, do what you got to do. Y ya. But the good numbers are going back up. So I don't understand why people are almost dying to get back to lockdown again. Como que le gustó
estar en casa.
So, pues vamos a hacerlo otra vez. No, man, I don't want to do that again. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, ya yo rebajé, ya yo me corté el pelo. There's not much else I can do. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's it. Ya I reinvented myself. I can't re-it. ¿Qué voy a hacer? Recordar ahora. So for the next lockdown, no, that's it. Let's go.
No, exacto. No,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Mira, te están preguntando. I'm gonna ask questions at the end too. Pero están preguntando aquí.
Hold up. I thought we were just gonna talk. You're gonna ask me questions. I thought we were just hanging out.
Oh, we're doing both, brother. We're doing both.
No, now you're gonna ask me questions, pero.
Sí, yo sé que tú estás preparado, man. Yo sé. Come on now, you ready? Mira, que te están preguntando.
I don't answer questions on Monday, bro, or Tuesdays.
Ah, es verdad que hoy es martes, ¿verdad?
Hoy es martes, chaval.
Hoy es martes.
I only ask questions Wednesday through Friday.
Ah, diancho, hay que cancelar esto, mi gente. Ok.
No, que cancelar. We can just talk, bro. We can just talk.
Usted no. Talk. Mira, no, que te están preguntando cuándo vienes para White Plains.
Con la pregunta, bro. I just finished telling you que no cojo pregunta y tú insistes en hacerme pregunta.
No, chico, that was the deal. That was the whole deal, the whole spiel.
Ay, Dios mío. ¿Cuál es
que ¿cuándo viene? ¿Cuándo viene para White Plains? Mira que mi país vive en White Plains también.
¿Tu país vive en White Plains? Has your father gone to any of my shows in White Plains?
No, he just moved there.
Ah, pues tu país no vive en White Plains. Tu vive, no. Tu país no vive en White Plains.
¿Ah?
Your father just moved to White Plains?
Ajá. About a year ago, yeah.
Papá.
Él está pastoreando allá.
Papá, el país mío y la maíz mío se mudaron a White Plains hace 40 años. ¿Ok?
Oh, smack.
So dile que vayan por casa. Dile a tu papá que vaya por casa y se registre. Okay.
Dale.
Because in White Plains, you ain't Latino, Hispanic, whatever you want to call yourself until you go by my parents' house and you sign in. Okay.
Oh, we gotta do that.
So tell your father, say, listen, you're not officially a White Plains resident until you check in with Eli's parents.
Dale, we're doing that.
No, I'm serious. So
serious.
DM me his information and I'll send you my parents' address. I want your father to go there y que se presente y que salude al alcalde y de White Plains.
Dale.
That's my
We doing that.
So when am I going to go back? Fíjate, I think I'm back there in October. We're working on some dates in October because I'm coming out with my book. I wrote a book and I'm publishing it and I'm doing a small book tour in the fall. And I think we're hitting White Plains that first weekend of October for like a book reading and signing.
Wow, okay.
But that's not official yet. So, but it'll be like October-ish. And then I'm back in New York City in November. So it's coming up soon, pero you know what would help? If people got vaccinated. You see what I'm saying? So, because the last thing we need is another spike and another more cancellations. Y, you know, por estos 2 o 3 zánganos que, ay, no, que esa vacuna, they came out too fast. Tú sabes,
Hey.
porque so normally I read on Facebook que it takes
Ajá.
8 to 10 years y lo hicieron en 2 años. Eso no puede ser bueno, because I read on Facebook que
Ajá.
they put stuff in that vacuna y que son un experimento. Mira,
On Facebook.
mira, just get back. You know, I would make the worst doctor because while they were telling me that, I would have my assistant just inject them. ¿Tú sabes
Así,
lo que digo?
pa, ya.
Ay, ya. You know what? Sue me. We'll talk about it in court. Let's talk about it in court.
Right.
Ya,
At
tú
least.
estás vacunado. Get out. Next.
That's it.
You want to ask me questions? Dale, vacúnala. Métele shot. Taquiti. Okay, ¿qué preguntas tiene? We got no time for this. Oh, my God.
It's facts.
What's next?
Mira.
Mira, bring back polio.
¿Verdad?
I see.
El H1N1. Recuerda
Yeah. You know what? Every shot I've had, can I take it away from me? I don't want any shot. I want to go backwards. Tú sabes. I want to get all the measles. Bring it back. Ay, dame measles, por favor. I don't want the measles shot.
Let's bring it all back.
Dios mío, Jesús.
Mira, algo que
October.
I was curious.
Yeah.
For the past, I mean, since I've been watching for like 3 years. ¿Qué pasó con el Lucio?
Lucio siempre está aquí, papi.
Papi, no, es que...
Eso está en la sangre, papi. Eso no hay que sacarlo, eso siempre está ahí.
El Lucio...
El Lucio, you mean like skits involving el Lucio?
Los skits, yeah, los skits.
Well, you know, like everything else, you know, your work evolves, right? So, El Lucio, you know, has that part in Made in Puerto Rico where he gives directions.
Okay.
But El Lucio, you know, it's just a big part of my character on stage, right? So, whatever shows I do, El Lucio is almost like it's a part of not just my act, but it's a part of being Puerto Rican. El Lucio is that Puerto Rican part of you that is proud, that is confident, that is cocky almost. You know, I think, you know, the best way to encapsulate that character is with the phrase, yo voy a mí, right? So in Puerto Rico, I was introduced to that phrase by my cousins, right? And, you know, anytime there was a challenge or a game or anything competitive, they would say, yo voy a mí, which is Spanish for like, I bet on me.
Exacto.
And that really captures that type of Boricua attitude, right? That I think El Lucio on stage, I try to manifest, right? That I know it all, and if I don't, I'm going to fake it till I make it, and you're not going to know the difference. ¿Me entiendes? So, you know, that to me is special, but I don't really have to, you know, like turn it on because I think it's in all of us. That type of Lucio, that type of, eso, Maran. You know, that's inside all of us, whether it sounds like me or not. You know what I'm saying? We all have our different versions.
Pero yo pensaba, obviously, you know, ya conocemos el significado de eso, pero tu tío se llama Luciano, right? So eso no vino de tu tío, right? El Lucio, o era...
Well, how do you know about my tío Luciano?
Papi, I study your work, brother. I'll check
esa respuesta es ser un Lucio. Papi, yo no te voy a decir yo lo que te voy a decir es que, papi, yo
hago research. Un pajarito me dijo por ahí.
Pues voy a matar a ese pajarito, ¿sabes? Porque ese pajarito está
ya está muerto.
Ya está muerto. Sí, te dijo eso y lo mataste. Mira, no, mi tío Luciano was my comic inspiration, pero no, no sale de ahí. O sea, when I first started doing the shows back in Chicago with Mikey O was the first one to label that attitude El Lucio, right?
Okay.
Because where I first labeled it was El Lucio, el que se luce bailando salsa. Got it? So that's where I first introduced the character. Y cuando uno va a un club de salsa, siempre hay un Lucio.
Exacto.
So I started dancing como el Lucio, right? And made in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
Pero then Mikey took that attitude with the character that I do directions. Mara, papi, tú lo coges y tú lo sigues. And so he married those two. And he says, the guy that gives directions is the same guy that dances salsa on stage. He called him El Lucio, period. So not just el que baila salsa bien Lucio. He called the guy who gives directions El mismo Lucio. And then we started doing cooking videos as El Lucio, right? Que baila y da instrucciones o direcciones. And then it just evolved from there, right? So,
yeah.
But like I said, it was, you know, it was always there, but it originated from el que se luce bailando salsa en un club.
Okay. The reason why I asked you is because si no fuera por el Lucio, I would have never probably, you know, seen who you were. Yo estaba buscando en YouTube. It was a Christmas. Y yo dije, pues vamos a ver si hacemos el coquito. Y puse en YouTube mejor coquito, qué sé yo. And you were like probably the fourth or fifth one. And I was like, this guy looks pretty funny, right? No quería verle.
I'm upset that I was the fourth or fifth, papi.
You should have been number one. Should have been number one.
Mira, Google me tiene que dar una notificación y decirme, mira, te están buscando.
Están buscando, era Eli.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny is that when I first performed in Puerto Rico, you know, I wasn't sure how it was going to be perceived, right? And by the way, this is in my book. And so I was curious, right? Because I wasn't going to bring only Spanish comedy to Puerto Rico. I wanted to be bilingual in Spanglish. Yeah. So when I went there, I started my set in English. And people were like, yeah, no, right? So because I don't necessarily look, you know, de bonito. You know what I'm saying? So I started in English and they were like, yo, que nos trajeron un gringo. Pero que then I started switching into Spanish y no solamente en español, pero then I would do my cousin and my uncle and esa familia in Puerto Rico, and I would do them in Spanish, right? So one thing is to start the show like this, and then all of a sudden say, I would go meet my cousin, and my cousin would sound like this. Mira, primo, ven acá. So when they would hear that, they were like, yo, what is this? Who looks like that, speaks like that, and all of a sudden, habla así, mira, vamos a ver, tenki, para la bola, no, espérate, que llegó mi prima.
Wow.
So that, you know, to them was like,
mind-boggling, yeah.
Right, nobody is that bilingual that can speak English that way y de momento cambia y no solamente habla español, pero lo habla como nosotros. Right? So that said to them, uno de aquí. Right? So, but I've been very blessed that I've been able to retain not just a lot of Spanish, but the way my family speaks Spanish, right? So that's why Capicu, the all Spanish one-man play that I have, means a lot to me, because in one part I speak like my grandfather.
So
you know what I mean? Not Spanish, you know, like my grandfather spoke Spanish, and then like my cousin and my uncle spoke Spanish. So when that show is received well by Spanish-speaking people that are not Puerto Rican, that means a lot, because then that means they understood my grandfather. They understood my uncle, because my grandfather, when he spoke Spanish, wasn't trying to communicate with the masses, right? Like my mom in White Plains interacts with so many different types of Hispanics que ella habla el español perfecto, ¿no? Entonces, depende con quién ella habla, ella puede adaptar su español para que la entiendan, ¿no? Entonces, muchas veces yo ni sé de qué país ella está interpretando, porque no lo comprendo. Puede ser de Colombia o de El Salvador, pero no sé. But my grandfather te hablaba así. Y cuando él quería decirte algo, él te lo decía. Y no le importa, tú lo vas a entender, porque eso te pegaba. Decía, mira, muchachito, cuando uno sale de la casa, uno no puede regresar tarde. No ves que en la calle te pegan un tiro. So for me, that Spanish, you know, is special to me, because that's my grandfather.
Right.
So I did that show to honor them. And not just the way they live, but the way they spoke.
Yeah.
And so that show means so much to me because of that, because it's home. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of my Spanish. And like I wrote in the book, there's nothing more important to me than language, man. And Spanglish, to me, you know, like this interview that we've been doing is in
It's the
Spanish
best.
and English. That's our
It's the
strength.
best.
That's our power, right? So anybody who tells me speak English, anybody who tells me speak Spanish, anybody who tells me, you know, make up your mind, I just kick them to the curb. They're not in my circle.
Exacto.
We have to encourage this type of Spanglish speaking, not just within each other, but within our families as well.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I've been fighting that, brother, my whole career, brother. My whole career.
And I was gonna ask you about that.
Otra pregunta. I told you I don't take questions, though.
That's what we hear, brother. They want answers.
Falta de respeto,
They
brother.
want answers.
I'm giving you answers without you asking me questions. You haven't noticed how subtle I am?
Well,
I'm subtle, brother. I'm subtle.
We need more. You know we're greedy. ¿Sabe que nosotros los hispanos we're greedy too?
Sí, sí. Le doy un dedito y me cogen el brazo. Yo le doy un dedito nada más y te arrancan el brazo. Dale, go.
No, your son was born he wasn't born in Puerto Rico, right?
He was born in Florida, the other Puerto Rico. Nah.
Okay. Well, we got a lot of similarities, right? Because my kids, mi esposa es italiana y puertorriqueña, pero no lo habla así. So they're growing up speaking English 99% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
¿Qué fue la conversación like with your son? Like, hey, you know, to embrace your Spanish, embrace the culture. How, you know, what was that conversation like with him?
It's not a conversation. It's an inundation.
Mm.
Uy, ¿qué fue eso?
I like that.
Eso me llegó de arriba.
Let me write that down.
Eso, I just formulated that thought at live, okay?
Papi, eso va para el next comedy show, Bobby.
Es que, no, eso va para el domingo. Eso es para el domingo, para darle gracias a Dios por
la iglesia.
Por la semilla. No, it's not a conversation, it's an inundation, right? So you inundate your child with the culture, with the pride, right? So I know that my son may not speak as fluently Spanish as I want, right? Está bien por ahora. Pero the most important thing that I always told his mother was, I never want our son to be embarrassed. I don't want my son to shy away from our culture. Mira, yo tiene cuarto de la hora, ¿verdad? Y mira, look what's on his wall. See that? See that? Yo no puse eso ahí. Él lo puso ahí. That's all him. So, okay, no puede hablar el español como yo lo hablo, pero conoce su cultura. Siempre lo llevamos a Puerto Rico. Wow. Es orgulloso de ser puertorriqueño. Exacto. That to me means everything. If in the future he starts taking Spanish classes, you know, está bien. Listen, my little brother, my youngest brother, when we moved from Puerto Rico, he was like 3 months old. Wow. 3 months. So he's been here his whole life. Y él te habla español, entiende español, right? Because he's made it a point to learn. Y te baila mejor salsa que whatever. That's, you know, when I do a Lucio, he's the true Lucio. El tipo baila como un máster. Máster. Wow. Máster. Like we say in Puerto Rico, un monstruo. Okay?
Tipo un monstruo.
So, again, it's about being so surrounded by it that you become it. Right. You know what I'm saying? And it's, you know, don't ever judge somebody because they don't know the language. Because that person might love Puerto Rico more than you. Listen, my first wife was born and raised in Puerto Rico. Okay?
Right.
And to me, she's less Puerto Rican than a lot of people I know. You know, she never liked Puerto Rican music. She always wanted like American music. She wanted to live in the States. Esa era una vendía. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, and here I was always trying to go back to Puerto Rico, and she was like, you know, turn that down. It's a salsa or whatever. And I'm like, what? So it's about that love and the passion that we feel in communicating and expressing it however we can.
Right.
You get me? However you can, as long as you have a love for it. That's what counts.
And now that you mentioned that, there's a lot of people que yo he visto, I mean, you see it on a daily basis, que le dicen I mean, even my parents, when I used to grow up, habla español, ¿qué es eso? Tú eres americuchi, me decían. And it's like, what I want to talk, you know what I mean? I want to talk English. Like you can't force, no puedes forzar a los hijos tuyos para que hablen español nada más, you know?
Nah, man,
So,
you just, at this point, we just got to talk whatever, you know what I mean? In other words,
yeah,
English, Spanish, lo que sea, because tampoco, you know, we want to, you know, slow down the progress of learning English, right? In other
right,
words, we live in a world where if you can advance your English, advance it,
yeah,
advance, because you're gonna need it.
right.
You know, so don't go old school. No, tienes que hablar perfectamente en español porque el español es nuestro idioma. You know, and it's like, okay, you know what?
Yeah.
But that's not going to help me completely when I go into court and I represent my client. You understand? So I don't want to be like, oh, the judge dijo una palabra bien grande. Yo no sé qué dijo. Mira, qué dijo el juez, you know, to the interpreter. ¿Qué digo el juez? Porque yo quiero defenderme bien, yo quiero hablar, you know, pero so the more you advance English, the better, también, por supuesto.
Right,
Pero
right,
if you can learn some Spanish along the way, está bien. Ahora, si te mudas para Puerto Rico, si te mudas para un país en Sudamérica, ¿ok? Then the reverse is true. Pero si estás aquí, ¿ok?
Exacto.
You gotta learn some English, pa, ¿ok?
Yeah.
Si estás aquí, you know, stop going to la bodega every day, right? And like start developing some English because you're gonna need it.
That's right.
Okay? You're gonna need it.
You're gonna need it.
You're gonna need it. ¿Me
Es
entiendes?
verdad, es verdad.
So, you know, para mí, it's like, I don't get too hung up in the, diablo, bro, el tipo no habla español, bro, y después se cree puertorriqueño, y no habla nada español, tiene que hablar español, papi, está pendejo. Nah, brother, nah, man. Right now, I reside in Florida. And before that, I resided in New York. And when stuff goes down, guess what language I need to speak in? English. Okay. So that makes me more powerful. The more English you know, the more you can do. The more Spanish you know, the better you feel. Pero está bien. Pero you can do both, is what I'm saying.
Exacto.
Estoy agitado. Estoy agitado.
Okay.
Tú me dijiste que te ibas a hacer una entrevista rápida y ahora estoy agitado. I'm going to have to go for a walk.
Va a tener que, mira mi gente, esto no fue planeado, esto no es scripted.
I have a chapter in my book called Spanglish.
And this is your first book, right?
Mira, I think in my first book. It's my only book, brother. You know how hard that was, man?
Crazy.
Papa, oh my God, man. I've written over 10 shows, 10 one-man shows. And I wrote a play. And writing the book, oh my God.
The toughest.
Oh my Lord. Because, you know, it's not just to make it entertaining, but it's also about my journey of how I went from being a prosecutor to being a comedian. Right. So, fortunately or unfortunately, I'm only going to sell that book in person, right? So it'll be at book signings or shows, etc. So it's not going to be available on Amazon or anything like that, right? But I think it's, you know, it tells a good story of perseverance, right? And of following your goals and following your dreams. But yeah, it was tough, brother. It was tough. But there's a chapter in there called Spanglish because of how strongly I feel about the use and the power of language.
Yeah. And I think something that you bring up a lot, like in your interviews, is that la gente aquí in the U.S., they don't embrace or celebrate the culture a lot, right? Like si tú estás en Puerto Rico, obviamente van a celebrarlo. Pero something that you do a lot in your comedy is you embrace the culture. You embrace PR here, even if it's in the U.S.
You're saying que los puertorriqueños aquí don't embrace Puerto Rico?
And in the U.S., not as much, not as much. Right. Not as much as in Puerto Rico.
Mira, Alexandria, what's up, girl? That's my girl. She just logged on.
I see it.
Alexandra. Mira, no, I would say, cuidado. I would say los puertorriqueños de aquí celebran la cultura de Puerto Rico sometimes bigger.
Yeah.
Louder.
Right.
You get me? Because in Puerto Rico, you got Puerto Rico, right?
Yeah.
When you out in the States, you almost have to be louder, brother, to be heard. To feel the island, you have to scream louder to just reach it.
Right.
But
So many
Puerto Rico is
ethnicities.
like in la fiesta sunset, you know, UPR, brother, UPR. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Right.
there's more of a chill, relaxed kind of a pride. In
Right.
Nueva York, Connecticut, Chicago, Florida, Texas, North
Yeah.
Carolina, you know, there's a different kind of pride, man. It's like we just shout it louder, man. We feel it more. We
Exacto.
want it more. You know what I mean? So that's why I get mad sometimes al puertorriqueño de Puerto Rico que se cree que el puertorriqueño que está fuera de Puerto Rico no existe.
Exacto.
Because we carry Puerto Rico even more.
Right.
Because here's the way esto es Dios. Here's the way I can articulate it, okay? It's like, brother, it's like if you have your mother, right?
Mm-hmm.
And your mother is bedridden.
Right.
And she's, you know, in a house that que tú no estás allá, right? So like one of your siblings is taking care of her, right?
Yeah.
So you're thousands of miles away. But because you're thousands of miles away from your mother who's bedridden, who's being taken care of, you
Right.
feel that pain more
Yeah.
because of her condition and because you can't see her, because you can't be with her. Tu hermano o tu hermana que la cuida feels it differently, pero por lo menos están ahí con ella. So el
Exacto.
puertorriqueño que está viviendo en Puerto Rico, I love them because they are taking care of our mother country. You understand? I
Right.
love them for that. Pero I feel the loss more because I am not there. ¿Entiendes?
Yeah.
So I feel the pain more. That's the only way I can equate the difference. You understand?
Right.
So para mí, it's like el puertorriqueño que no está en la isla is a different pride, it's a different pain, it's a different separation. Que el
Right.
puertorriqueño que está en la isla is a different kind of pride porque está ahí. So if we
Wow.
understand each other like that, we understand que el puertorriqueño no importa si tú estás aquí o estás allá, el puertorriqueño es uno solo. You know who said that? Grupo Manía.
Exacto. Grupo Manía.
Oscarito de Grupo Manía said, listen, no importa si eres de aquí o de allá. El puertorriqueño es uno solo.
Es uno. Es uno.
Yeah.
Well, what I was going along the lines of that. The reason why yo tengo un canal en inglés, right? MIKEYCREADOR. But the reason why que yo hice MIKEYCREADOR was because of that. Kind of what you do was because I felt like there was more of a need in the vlog space, right? In the YouTube space de puertorriqueño, que hablen así boricua, que hablen de Puerto Rico. I just felt that there was a need, right? So did you feel that way as far as like a comedian? Because you do both languages.
I mean, that's first of all, that's also why I did my podcast, right? So the Eli Castro show is just me being me in English and Spanish, talking about me, right? So it's an extension of my stage shows. Yes, of course, hacía falta. Come on, man. If I told you right now, yo llego de otro planeta, and I go, show me a show that is funny, that my kids can watch, my whole family can watch, y que represente a nuestra cultura. Show me right now, brother. Show me. Show me. Show me. Who's there? ¿Quién existe? Tell me who's doing Spanglish comedy para toda la familia that represents un puertorriqueño con clase. No, I'm just being objective. Who? So because I didn't see it, then I created it. Pero francamente and selfishly, I created it for me because no existe. And I was tired of watching other people talk about other people.
Right.
I wanted to hear about us. You understand? When I saw whether it's Leguzamo or Fluffy or whoever, that's not us though.
Right.
So rather than being like, es una porquería, no me gusta porque así no somos nosotros. Rather than talk about that, rather than, criticize George Lopez, you don't criticize that. You just be.
Right.
You just write. You just create. ¿Me entiendes? So for me, it's almost like, don't hate, just create. So
that's right.
So I said, that's it. So si hace falta, I'm gonna fill in that void, and that's what I did. And so that's why I started writing and writing, and the responses I was seeing was exactly what I hoped, which is, de entre mano, esto hace falta, And I'm like, I know. So the backlash that I got was, pero este lo que hace es comedia limpia. y, you know, eso no es comedia para adultos, y bla, bla, bla. Mira, papi. Ay, Dios mío.
No, but that was my next thing. Porque en la comedia, we hear Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, Martin Lawrence, right? Chris Rock, all these
I've seen them all. But
right.
can I just tell you, they're very funny. They're very
Right.
funny. Pero here's my goal, okay? I can be funny using bad language, okay?
Right.
How do I know that? Because in my private life, like if you came over for dinner or whatever, you're gonna see that side of me, right? And some of my family members will tell you, I don't even know how this guy can do a clean show, but cuando está en la casa, habla, you know, whatever. Pero that's just us being. Mira, Vani, my sister-in-law is on. Pero that's just us being nosotros en la casa, you know, chavando.
Hey.
Pero on stage, it's a show. I want to
Right.
put on a show. If I get up on stage and I'm talking like I talk at home, then I don't feel like it's worth paying me. You understand?
Verdad,
if I get on stage, I want to transport you to another world. I want to perform for you. I want to work. And cursing and doing all this and hablando malo y hablando fresco, that just for me is not something that my parents would go see or my grandmother. You understand?
Right.
And I want to entertain my parents and my grandparents. Para mí, eso vale más que 20 pesos o una pareja bebiendo. And that's not me, bro. That para eso, just come over, we hang out. But I want you to bring your parents. I want you to bring your kids. And more importantly, when you go home, I want you all to talk about what happened. I want you all to repeat the lines that I said. Exacto. I don't want you to go home with your girl and be like, oh, that's so funny. And your kids go, what was? Oh, nothing.
What was, right?
¿Qué eso, brother? ¿Qué eso? Come on, man. Now, I'm not saying, you know, again, that there's bad comedy, good comedy. I'm saying this comedy, you know, you want to do it. If that's your voice, if that's the only way you can, you know, communicate, fine. I don't care, bro. I don't care. However, if I'm going to be on stage, I can't have you go before me hablando porquería. You get me?
Right.
Because I set a tone. When I go on stage, I want people to come out. I set a tone. You get me? Y para mí, you know, para mí, when I'm on stage, like I said, it's a business, it's a profession, and it shows respect. So when I go there, I'm telling you, listen, olvídate de esto, right? Forget about politics, forget about stress, forget about sexual innuendos, double entendres, bad words. Mira, forget about all that. I just want us to get away, and I want to transport you to a happy place. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it with humor, respect, and class. You understand? So para mí, that's just my profession. That's the lawyer in me going to work. You understand? I'm not judging or nothing. Pero si me atacan, me defiendo. You know what I'm saying?
Exacto.
I mean, I'm the wrong brother to come after. I'm telling you.
Dile, yo soy loco.
El que yo voy a criticarlo. I'm the wrong brother. I'm telling you right now. El que se mete conmigo se enreda.
Candela.
Yo no soy uno de esos de que, ay, you know, I turned the other cheek. No. Tú me tiras a mí, yo te voy a tirar 3. Mira, Jose from my podcast, he's joined me. Jose Rodriguez.
Yo, Jose.
So, you know, again, even Jose knows because, again, I keep my inner circle small for a reason.
Right.
Because people have a hard time, you know, hearing honesty. In other words, you know, critican mucho, pero cuando le hablas para atrás, se insultan. You get me? So para mí, you know, being, you know, a former lawyer, I don't get intimidated, Pam. You know what I'm saying? You know, one of the things that drove me to be an attorney was the power to represent and help people who can't speak. You understand? So para mí, yo no me quedo callado. You understand? Yo no me puedo quedar callado.
Yeah.
It's very, very difficult para quedarme callado. I have to pray. I have to talk to my mother. ¿Tú me entiendes? Porque para mí, si hay una injusticia, if there's any kind of injustice, yo no me quedo callado. It's impossible. So, especially if it's about me, if you criticize my family, my culture, my work, lo que sea, you know, hay que hablar. ¿Entiendes?
Prepare yourself,
Right. So, listen, the point is, that, you know, this, my work, my profession, todo eso, I take it personal. That's why I do it. I don't think you should do it if you don't take it personally. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
So that's why all my shows are very, very personal. There is no being funny just to be funny. It's funny because it's true.
Right.
It's funny because it's painful. ¿Entiendes? And I try, in all my shows, I try to tell you something. I try to convey something. If I'm not conveying something, then I'm not writing a show. All my shows are centered around a point I'm trying to make. ¿Entiendes?
Right.
A message that I'm trying to get across. If I don't put myself out as vulnerable in my shows, I'm not gonna do the show. My show has to mean something. It's got to be about something. Sometimes you get the message, sometimes you don't. Pero later on you do.
You will. Yeah, you captivate it.
Yeah.
You got a lot of shows that you already, you talked about some of them. You have 10. Y los tengo aquí. De todos los 10 shows, my question is, do you combine sometimes like Mira Que Nice con Capicú or
no, it's impossible. It's impossible.
Or is it just one show for, you know?
You know, there's been times when I'll take, depending on if I do like a corporate show or maybe a university show, maybe that I might mix. I used to do it in the beginning, make it a little bit of Made in Puerto Rico with a little bit of Law and Disorder. But it's very difficult because all my shows are centered around a certain message. So it doesn't do the show justice if I take un cantito de aquí, un cantito de acá, because then when I put them together, todo esos cantitos have to mean something.
Yeah.
I'm not just going to do un cantito and then like switch channels, otro cantito, because para mí, then I'm just spitting out little bits.
Babosería,
my bits have to make sense to some degree. What am I trying to tell you? I'm not just going to get up and go, okay, here are directions in Puerto Rico. But, you know, because that's TikTok. You get me? If I'm going to perform, I want to put something together so that there's a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Wow.
So all my shows mean that. So like Mira Que Nice, for example, is about my relationship with Emmeline before we got married.
Yeah.
Capicú is about my grandfather, my grandmother, and my grandfather's son. So, and it's about fatherhood, and it's about, you know, redemption. So a lot of this is, they're different. What am I trying to say is conveyed in you know, individually in each show. Hey, baby.
Okay, I like that. I like that. Yeah. That's my question. I was like, tiene tanto show. ¿Cómo, you know, how do you come up with a show? Like cuando te llama y dice, hey, puedes ir para whatever, Broadway, whatever case. How do you come up with like, all right, I'm going to do this show? Or do they say, hey, can you do el show de Puerto Rico? Like, you know what I mean? How does that go?
It depends on the market, right? So the market it depends on the market. So in Connecticut, I'm doing a show in October and I'm doing Mira Que Nice. Why am I doing Mira Que Nice? Because I haven't brought that show there yet. So I brought other shows there. If it's a market that I've never been to, then I usually, or my team will usually say, well, then do Made in Puerto Rico. But what we usually tell these markets are, we start with Made in Puerto Rico, and then we go in order, or somewhat in order, right? We go with Law and Disorder, you know, and then we go with Capicú, and then we go with I'm No Romeo, and then we go with Solo. And so there's sort of a pattern. There's sort of a certain order of them. But sometimes it could be a relationship show. In relationship shows, I have like 3 or 4 of them. So it really just depends on the market, what they ask for, what they need, who the audience is, and then maybe what I'm working on or what I wish to work on. So, you know, like this fall, I might be doing Mira Que Nice. I'm also doing Law and Disorder. I'm doing Made in Puerto Rico, and I'm doing All Grown Up. So it's about 4 different shows that I'm going to be doing in a span of like 2 months.
Wow.
¿Me entiendes?
Okay.
So it really just depends. And I've done I think 3 different shows in one weekend. 3 different 2-hour shows in one weekend. And that's all about preparation and really, you know, harping back to my life as a lawyer.
Wow. How do you deal with like hecklers? Or have you dealt with that?
Hecklers. What do you want? You be right back, you said? What do you, bank? You going to the bank? It's my son.
Oh.
You go to the bank with who?
Mom.
Oh, okay. How do I deal with heck? Listen, there's good hecklers and there's good hecklers and there's bad hecklers. So our people are just good hecklers. They just, you know, they contribute, they shout, you know, they want to interact with you, they want to fill in the blank, they want to finish a sentence, and that's all good. And the way you do it is you got to read the room. You got to know the energy. You got to know how to reciprocate it. You got to know how to ignore some, you know, pay attention to others. But our crowds, our people are very alive.
Yeah.
And not a lot of performers can handle a Puerto Rican or Latino crowd. It's very, very rowdy, but rowdy in a great way. The bad hecklers, I don't know what to tell you. That's where my training in improvisation comes in, right? And Jose would know about this, is that I don't have like a template, you know, a go-to where I reach in my bag and I answer hecklers. For me, it's almost like that's when improv kicks in, right? And then I go with it. So it's kind of like, you know how they're deciding to interrupt my show? When they do, then we'll see how I react. And you know, I've had all kinds of reactions, from good to bad to medium to funny to turn the lights on and kick the guy out. It's almost like I don't worry about that. I don't worry about that. I got a show to do, and the bottom line is, if somebody interrupts it in a negative way, it's 1 out of 250 or 300 or 500. And they're gonna get swallowed up. So, you know, yo voy a mí. You know what I'm saying? So I don't, si pasa, I feel very comfortable going off script and improvising. So I have no problem. So I have no problem with that. I have no problem. But that's not my focus. My focus is on that show. My focus is on that journey, taking that audience from beginning to the middle to the end.
I like that. You got a couple shows this year, right? Dile a la gente, like, pretty much where you're gonna be at, where they can find you, social media, and whatnot.
EliCastro.com is the best way for my upcoming shows. Like I said, I've got some shows in Orlando in November, Chicago in October, New York in November, Bridgeport, Connecticut in October. EliCastro.com. As the shows get confirmed and official, I'll put them up there, and then of course on Instagram, which is always fun.
Awesome. And social media, Eli Castro Comedy on Instagram and Facebook too, right?
No, I'm not on Facebook, brother. I'm not on Facebook.
No. I know before you were. I used to watch you live all the time.
Yeah, pero ya olvídate de eso. Eli Castro Comedy on Instagram, and then Elizalde Castro on Twitter, and I think Elizalde Castro on LinkedIn.
TikTok,
for the most part, I'm on Instagram. That's my thing. Oh, and YouTube, Eli Castro Comedy on YouTube.
Oye, TikTok todavía.
Estoy, pero no estoy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got an account, pero yeah.
You're trying to dabble, trying to see.
No, my son's more into TikTok, and my ex-wife, his mother is, pero I'm okay. I'm okay.
Bueno, yo, I gotta go. So, pero we're gonna do another one. Cuando salga el book, I want to do another thing with you, so that way we can talk
otro
about
más. We were on here for almost an hour. Quiere otro más.
This is one of 10. Esto es como los shows.
Ay, Dios.
Esto es 1 out of 10.
Está bien.
So
I'll send you to my assistant next time.
Dale. Well, I'm going to hit you up after this so we can confirm that White Plains thing.
Yeah, okay? Brother. Yeah, I want your father to go meet my parents, brother. Yeah.
Dale, for real. But everybody who's watching, make sure to go to follow me here on Instagram, MIKEYCREADOR, en YouTube. Te puedes suscribir también, suscríbete al canal. And,
maybe next time we do an interview, maybe you should be in a studio somewhere and not in your car, bro. Because
porque mira, me están mirando aquí, los perros me están mirando también.
You gotta change that look, brother. You gotta change that look. Eso de estar en el carro, eso no, eso ya.
Sí, no, mira, me están mirando, por eso tengo que irme. Ya
mira,
me están mirando,
my wife just logged in, Doctora Ramos, all late. Nena, ya nos vamos.
Wow.
Ya nos vamos.
No, esto va a estar en YouTube.
Brother, un placer, ¿sabes?
Un placer, man. It's an honor, man. Thank you so much for taking the time. So,
gracias.
Te tiro.
Gracias.
Dale, bye-bye. Bendición.
Bye-bye.